I'm lifting and I'm getting on to about 15% brake and trailing off just for a little bit, and then I'm right back on throttle. So I'm braking from here to about here, and then now I'm back on throttle. Hi there everyone, this is Josh from Finding Speed Now again. We are going to be doing another track guide. This time it's going to be Nashville Superspeedway. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and get the car started here. So with this one, it is a relatively new track to me, so I'm going to do my best to share some of the stuff that I've learned in doing it. It is not a very banked track, so you're going to want to, typically on those, you're going to be wanting to get down to the line in order to save tire to not burn the right front as much as you can. So we're going to be doing the long run here first, and I'm going to run a few laps. I'm going to show you the line that you kind of want to do. You want to eliminate as much of the pushing, like I kind of did on the last corner, as you can. Your lifting point is going to be right about here, and you're going to be using like 15-20% brake. I guess 20% is too much, like 15 at most. It's going to be like start at 15, trail off to 5. And you want to get pointed down like we do on most tracks, so you can throttle out early. And be pointing here, getting on the brake a little bit. And then once you feel the car settle and get once you feel car settle and get yourself pointed, you can then start getting back on throttle. So I'm pointed here, I'm still pushing a little bit, and then now I'm pushing. That way you are not burning your right front as much as you can. This week it is the fixed set that I'm doing. I don't have my set up yet, so if you're running B fixed, this will be perfect for you. So you can see I'm using like 15% throttle, or I keep saying too much. It's like 10%, 8% throttle. Not throttle, brake. And you want to be getting all the way up here, coming down. You kind of want to get your tire on the inside of that seam at the bottom there. Turn in nice and early. Get yourself pointed so when you're on brake you're not turning as much. Then you can get back on throttle earlier. You can feel the rear start to slide a little bit. With these fixed sets, you're pretty much dependent on that right front, so you're just trying to minimize the burning that you're doing there. Turn in at the start of that here. I did try doing some high line, like higher line lines, but from what I could tell, just can't carry quite as much speed because there's not a the banking isn't there. You end up getting into the wall. You can't hold the throttle as well. That your minimum speed seems to be a little bit lower because you don't have as much carry out that you can take. Maybe we'll try doing this. You just want to avoid sliding though. Like in there, you're right here, you're burning right front as you're throttling out. So it might be faster now, but later on it's not going to be as fast. I think getting pointed like that, get locked in with your steering, slowly add that throttle through, I think overall is just going to be better. Yeah. I just think that's going to be better overall. Alright, so on this we're going to try doing a pit stop on slightly used tires. There's like 20 laps on these tires, so it'll at least give you a ballpark idea of the braking zone and how you want to enter. So you can basically enter like you normally would. You can actually start throttling up a little bit and then start braking right about here when you see the entry. Downshift. And that's still plenty early. You could maybe even brake a little bit later. So, but that's a good example of green flag pit stops. It looks like the tire wear was actually 92% on the front and 94% on the rear. The right side's left doesn't really matter. So, but we can go ahead. We're going to go into qualification run, see if we can get a little bit better than 30.7. With the little amount of banking that they have here, you're going to make sure that you got to be getting down all the way, otherwise you're not going to be able to get the run out that you want. But you're going to want to enter high. Here, start getting back on throttle. You're going to start feeling the getting loose, which is kind of what you want. And just that little feeling of looseness as you're coming out of the corner. You're going to be braking after the marker that you normally do. Hold that throttle. Get on it. There we go. Get pointed down. Get. There we go. Looks like that's going to be faster than my fastest. Let's see if we can beat that. Get down there, pointed. Back. See if cutting it down helps. Not quite there, but we'll go back and go over those laps. Alright, so you want to make sure on the first corner you are getting out wide. You're entering wide. And then once you get, looks like I started getting back on throttle right about here. Which is... yeah, so once you start getting past this big Ford logo, like once it kind of leaves your view, which you can't actually see it. So this big sign here is a Ford logo. I can see it once it's off to the side and the sun's not blinding you, but like that's right where I'm starting to get back on throttle, and I'm smoothly just pushing it all the way up, which gives me a good run going approximately 169 at the start finish. And then so for qualification, your lift point is after you get past this Rackley logo here that's on the side. I'm lifting and I'm getting on to about 15% brake and trailing off just for a little bit, and then I'm right back on throttle. So I'm braking from here to about here, and then now I'm back on throttle. And then one thing to keep in mind is I'm holding that steering angle there and just slowly building throttle. And you can see, so my lift is pretty much the same here. It's right after I get past that logo, the blue Rackley that's on the right there. And then I'm also pointed down there already too. So like as I'm getting on brakes, I'm already pointed down. So I'm turning in, then braking. And then that's only like a 5-8% brake drag on this one because it's the opening corner. So you can carry a bit more speed through. And then I was able to get up to about 75-80% throttle and hold that until I was able to get to the exit. So right about here I was able to throttle back up. And then that one was my fastest, which was a 30.6. And then the second one wasn't quite as good. I think I didn't, no, I did get turned down good. But I just slid up here, which might have been just because my right front was a little bit overheated from that first lap. I've started to notice with some qualification laps that sometimes you have to go for a first qualification lap, sometimes you have to go for a second. It all just depends on the track temp and stuff like that. For the first one, you just kind of warm up your tires, and then the second one, you are able to push more, and you just have that extra little bit of turning ability that you don't have otherwise. Like, I was able to make it stick, but I definitely slid up a little bit too early. See, I'm all the way down to that line, back on the throttle. I think I did gain some time on this corner compared to that last lap that I had done. Yeah, so that's how you do the qualification. Alright, you guys, thank you for watching on my track guide for Nashville Superspeedway, and I hope you guys learned a little bit, because I definitely did when I was doing the practice and stuff for this, and I wish you guys luck, and hope you guys can find your speed.